Here's the deal. Finding the best stainless steel kitchen sink isn't just about a shiny bowl. It's about daily sanity, silent cleanup, and a work surface that actually helps instead of getting in the way. The countdown today gives a clear winner while showing what each option really feels like in use, quirks included. Stick around because there's more than one right pick, depending on size, sound, gauge, and those sneaky features like workstation ledges and drain groove design that make a sink way more usable than it looks at first glance.
6. Delironexu Undermount Kitchen Sink. The first impression is strong. Deep single bowl, tight radius corners, and those X-shaped drain grooves that help water shoot right out instead of pulling in the corners, which is honestly a small joy every time dishes pile up after dinner. The brand calls out sound-dampening pads and an anti-condensation coating underneath, so yes, it runs quiet and keeps cabinet interiors dry even with hotter water runs. Big plus for families in open kitchens. Day-to-day, the bowl depth is generous, and the undermount profile gives a clean wipe-in edge that makes crumbs vanish, which is one of those quality-of-life things that's hard to give up once it's there. Features-wise, you're looking at 16 to 18 gauge marketing, depending on the specific model and listing. Some channels list 16 gauge builds, while others mention 18, but the consistent story is T304 stainless with a brushed finish and tight corners that are easier to clean than sharp 90s without looking soft or dated. The drainage design uses a sloped floor with engineered channels, those X grooves, and it works, especially when paired with the bottom grid to keep plates off the base so it dries out fully between uses. As a workstation variant, Delironexu also sells versions with sliding accessories and thick pads covering most of the bowl area. So if silence matters, it checks that box better than most budget picks. 5. Sanycasa Undermount Kitchen Sink. Sanycasa lands at number 5, and the pitch is compelling. Integrated workstation ledge, single bowl depth, and those X-shaped grooves for faster draining, meaning a cleaner basin after a rinse, not a puddle that lingers till morning. It comes with thick pads and an anti-condensation undercoat, so fewer tinny sounds, fewer cabinet warping humidity moments, and a nicer low-noise vibe when a colander of pasta clatters down, which, keeps the piece in open plans aces. In practice, the ledge accessories make it feel like extra counter space. Board over the sink, roll-up rack for drying, colander that keeps salad grit out of the drain. It's efficient and honestly addictive once it becomes habit. The stainless is marketed as S304/T304 class with a brushed finish that cleans easily, and the undermount install makes cleanup effortless across the countertop edge. Wipe, drop, done. Dimensions on the common 30 to 33-inch models align to standard 36-inch base cabinets with a deep bowl good for sheet pans and Dutch ovens without splash drama. In daily use, the channels and slope are tuned enough to stop micro-pooling around the drain, which matters if hard water spots are a thing in the kitchen. Where's the nitpick? The finishing consistency and accessory fit tolerances can vary between runs. Things like board fit or the snugness of roll racks aren't at Kraus level precision, and the brush surface, while easy to clean, isn't the most scratch hidden among workstation players. So again, a bottom grid is essential.
4. Lordear 33 Drop-In Stainless Workstation. Now we're cooking. Lordear's 33-inch drop-in workstation is a surprisingly strong performer if top mount is the only viable install. With 16-gauge T304 construction and a generous single bowl that feels purpose-built for families that churn through pans and platters like clockwork. The workstation ledge is the hero here. Board, rack, colander, the usual trio, and it actually stabilizes well during prep, which makes chopping over the sink feel less like a gimmick and more like a real station. Lordear leans into soundproofing and thermal lining, which helps both noise and condensation, and the R10 corners strike a nice balance between a modern look and sanity-saving cleanability. For a drop-in, the rim is well finished and seats tightly when installed correctly, so grime traps are minimized, which is often the downfall of budget top mounts. The stainless options include brushed silver and black nano finishes across the line. But for this specific workstation model, the classic brushed stainless is the most forgiving choice for daily wear and cleaning rhythm. Weight and rigidity feel good, the bowl is deep enough for roasting pans, and the included accessories get real use on a daily basis, especially the roll-up rack for hot pans and drying glassware. The brand also emphasizes cup listing and a lifetime warranty on its stainless sinks, which is a vote of confidence for long-term installs.
3. Oxwiser Undermount Kitchen Sink. Into the top 3 with Oxwiser's 32 by 18 Undermount single bowl, this one's a worker. 16-gauge T304 stainless, deep 9-inch basin, tight but cleanable corners, and a minimum 36-inch cabinet requirement that matches most full-size kitchens. The package often includes a bottom grid, drain components, and sometimes an accessory bundle, which helps protect the floor from scratches and keeps dishes lifted for faster drying. Practical and almost mandatory for a sink that sees a lot of heavy cookware. Day-to-day, the dimensions are the sweet spot. Long enough to lay a sheet pan flat, deep enough to avoid splash zones when rinsing tall stock pots, and wide enough to stage dishes left to right during cleanup. The Undermount Edge is the silent hero again. Wipe in edges, clean counter, fast reset after a big meal. The sound dampening in this class varies by listing, but with proper pads and undercoating, the acoustic profile is nicely subdued for stainless, especially when paired with a grid to soften contact. The drain location and slope play well with the X-groove approach that's become standard for quicker clearing, reducing funk and water standing over time if hard water is present. Fit and finish feel better than bargain imports, especially in weld seams and rim flatness that matters a lot during install.
2. Kraus Core Single Bowl Stainless Steel. Here's what matters. Core is the benchmark for workstation sinks in this price band. 16-gauge TR16 stainless, integrated ledge, ultra-complete accessory kit, serious soundproofing, and a wear-resistant satin that holds up to real life without micromanaging every wipe. The 32-inch Undermount variant is dialed in. 32 by 19 inches overall with a 30 by 16 by 10-inch bowl, rear offset drain for better cabinet space, and rounded bottom corners that clean easily but keep the crisp modern geometry above the waterline. The noise defend pads and full undercoating make it noticeably quieter than generic stainless. And the rear channel grooves plus slope make draining feel effortless. Dishes off the grid? Wipe. Done. The included bottom grid, heavy bamboo cutting board, roll-up rack, and drain cover solve the basics on day one with no accessory scramble later, which is honestly how these should ship. In use, the workstation ledge changes habits. Chop over the sink, slide, rinse, dry on the roll rack, countertop stays clear, and cleanup time shrinks because debris doesn't leave the basin until it's gone. The finish is forgiving, the geometry maximizes usable space, and the mounting hardware plus template make installation straightforward for pros and seasoned DIYers alike. Kraus tends to nail the documentation and fit. If a smaller or ADA configuration is needed, the Core family has depth and size variety too, with the same accessory approach. LQS Undermount Workstation Ledge Kitchen Sink. Number 1 goes to LQS for hitting that sweet spot. Heavy-duty 16-gauge T304 stainless, integrated double-ledge workstation design on certain models, smart accessory kits, and the kind of everyday usability that turns the sink into the busiest, most efficient zone in the kitchen, without babying it. The brand's Undermount workstation lineup consistently includes the essentials: basket strainer, bottom grid, cutting board, and roll-up rack, so the set is actually usable from day one. And the fit on the ledges is tight enough to feel solid while prepping. The satin brushed finishes are rust and scratch resistant, and the R10 corners make cleaning fast while keeping high volume capacity thanks to straight sidewalls. Big pots, big pans, no fuss. The offset drain and channel groove floor help prevent pooling, and that pays off over years in fewer hard water halos and less stink trap grime. Yep, practical wins. What really sells it is how the accessories and geometry work together. Roll-up rack handles hot pots, the board is sturdy and easy to clean, and the grid protects the floor while keeping draining fast. Daily rhythm just clicks when the station is set. The Undermount install yields that wipe-in edge for a spotless counter sweep. And the 16-gauge thickness keeps it feeling dense and quiet, with undercoating to back it up. Solid acoustics for stainless, even with a disposal. Final thought? That's all for today, folks.